Frozen slime. I'm gonna use this to make a whole bunch of money and fix my money problem permanently, hopefully. In my world, I like to make massive structures, beautiful builds. And most people see this stuff and they think, oh my gosh, bro, how long did that take to make? But guys, the constraint isn't time. I'm unemployed. Dude, it doesn't matter how long this takes. But the thing that does matter is how much it costs, which is something people do not think about whatsoever. And I also don't even mention. I never mention it. I just kind of do it off camera. I get the money. So how much do you think this biome cost me to make? You know, I needed black paint for the background walls. I needed illuminate coating to make stuff glow. I needed balloon blocks, which I had to buy. So how much did it cost? Like 5 platinum maybe, right? Try 50 platinum for this biome. And soon I plan to transform my entire world. NPC houses for all NPCs that look extravagant. Custom biomes stretching across the entire world. So I need a way to make money. I need to increase the economy and permanently solve my money problem in this game. And so I have 3 farms in mind that should permanently increase my economy. And I actually already built one of them, but I wasn't recording. Or actually I was recording. It just looked like this. Yeah, it was completely lopsided. Let's check it out. You teleport right in here, and it's the back rooms. Yeah. Basically, it's a mimic farm. And look, I literally already got a mimic. I just came here. And the way this farm works is I'm just using dirt background walls that are naturally spawned here. And I painted them yellow so they kind of blend in. And in that slot, mimics can spawn. And I just pull them in with actuated hoiks. And it just drags in all the mimics and they die. Mimics on the surface tend to spawn way more often than underground. I'm not sure why, but my theory is underground there's just way more of a variety and high amount of enemies that can spawn. And when you have so many enemies fighting for the spawn, mimics don't spawn as often. But on the surface, when only slimes can spawn, the mimic spawn rate is just way higher. I was here for literally a minute giving my little talk on this farm, and I got 2 mimics. One dropped 25 gold, the other one dropped 40 plus. And within a couple of minutes, I had a platinum. It was insane. Now, the unfortunate problem with this farm is if an event happens like a solar eclipse, Mothron will spawn, and she'll just kill me. I did make a little capturing device for things like wraiths, ghosts, or the reapers from the solar eclipse. But Mothron, any farm on the surface, you're just instantly dead. So this next farm is going to be an underground one. Also, with all the farms in my world, like, I've made multiple. I've tried to solve my money problem, like, multiple times, by the way. Gnome farm, meatball farm, mob farm. All of them have constraints. Like, either you can only use it during daytime, enemies clog up the farm, etc. So for these 2 farms I want to make, the objective is to remove all constraints and just make them the most ideal farm in the universe. So let's start with the chlorophyte farm. So frozen slime is a block that's frictionless. And because of Beethoven's Second Symphony, the law of things in motion like to stay in motion, what this means is you can AFK, basically, while moving. So if I just click forward here, you can see I start moving. I'm not even touching my keyboard anymore, but there's no friction to slow me down, you know? Quick learning lesson from the greatest. If you never took geology, I mean, you might have missed this. What? So I'm literally in the bathroom right now while recording this, and I'm still moving. How can we use this? This is a traditional chlorophyte farm. Chlorophyte grows, so you just surround it with a bunch of mud. But if we want to use the frozen slime, we put some chlorophyte above us with some mud below it, and we can just block swap any chlorophyte that grows with mud while moving without touching our keyboard. Now, we do have to be like block swapping, so it's, you know, oh, that's not AFKable. You have to block swap. You have to click your mouse, right? No, I can put my mug on my mouse, so that I got that covered. So this is actually fully AFKable. I can go to sleep, leave for 9 hours, come back with enough chlorophyte to sell for 100 platinum overnight. But there's one problem. Newton's 5th law. Objects in motion, when acted upon by an outside force, stop moving. Objects like to move until acted upon by an outside force. Bam! The outside force. So I gotta find a way to basically turn the player around once we get to the end if I want to make this fully AFKable. But for now, I went to go grab the chlorophyte I needed. Alright. Whoa, a snatcher's trying to grab me. Genuinely, I have to move. So my goal was to get at least like 9999 chlorophyte for this farm. I want to stretch it across basically my entire world. I'm gonna make this very far underground where no solar eclipse can even can reach me. So I had to get a whole bunch of chlorophyte. I popped some splunker potions and started looking. And while I was here, I was also going to contaminate part of the jungle because it was pretty much all crimsoned by the time, you know, I visited it. So I grabbed some chloroform as I transformed the biome a little bit back to its original state. But what I noticed as I got further and further was that the crimsoned areas didn't have any chlorophyte. And I thought maybe I was bugging. You know, maybe chlorophyte doesn't grow when it's corrupted, but maybe I'm just losing it, you know? So I kept going, I kept checking, and sure enough, every area that was crimsoned had no chlorophyte. And most of my biome is completely corrupted, so this was really bad. I mean, I highly doubted I was going to get enough chlorophyte, but I kept on mining. I got up to 1,000. Thankfully enough, the left side of my jungle, though, wasn't crimsoned, so I just went ahead, did some more mining there. I think I did catch a few deaths, but eventually I got like 2,000 chlorophyte nearly. It is not the 99999 I wanted, but we're just going to have to work with it. So I found a spot underground that did not intersect with my elevator. Pretty deep underground where no invasion would bother me, and I started placing the frozen slime. Luckily, I already dug out this area before with the mole minecart, so it was like a perfect strip that just went to like the edge of the world that I could use. So it was pretty easy just placing all this stuff. I did die, of course, a few times. Bro, what? And then, of course, I started placing all the chlorophyte and the mud. Now, this was really, really long. I made this thing massive. I decided, like, to take up basically almost half of the world. But halfway through, I remembered something that might be able to improve this farm. It was a short made by Wasefi, where he mentioned that chlorophyte brick could also spread chlorophyte. So I had to know, what was the recipe to make chlorophyte brick? Because if it was one chlorophyte and you get multiple brick, then we could basically just like double our chlorophyte growing ability. And sure enough, when I checked, it was 1 chlorophyte for every 5 brick, which means I could 5x my 2k chlorophyte. So I technically have 10,000 chlorophyte to make this farm with. But at this point, I already realized I didn't want to make the farm go across the entire world. I don't know if we need that big a farm. I mean, and we're going to have a turnaround method anyways, so there's no reason to have it that long. So how did I come up with the turnaround method? How do you turn around the player? Well, my first idea was to use hoiks. And I thought the problem with this hoik thing was it was going to launch me so fast across the frickin' screen to the point where I couldn't collect the chlorophyte. So then my solution was going to be, oh, I'll just use honey. Hey, honey. Which would slow down my character. However, when I tried the hoik method, it takes away all your momentum when you use it. Which I don't even know how that's possible when you're on frictionless substance, you know? I mean, I guess it makes sense if you're not in motion, like you won't be in motion. So I had to come up with a different way, and my other idea was using enemy knockback to turn around the player. I recently found out when slimes are bobbing in water, they can't jump. So I was thinking if I used a slime statue with water, I could basically spawn in slimes that would bob in place and then they could hit me back. It did take some time to figure out like a system where it worked flawlessly every time, but this is what I came up with. Basically, I just have a little half block blocking off the slime so they can't get out. I just slide right in and they hit me. So I placed 2 of these on either side of the farm, but they do smack you pretty good. So to make sure I'm not moving too quick to collect the chlorophyte, I have to fill the entire farm with water. And then I also have to fill in the background walls of the farm. That way no worms spawn and kill me. But other than that, it is fully done. And done. Just kidding. There are an insane amount of mobs in the game that can just fly through walls and crap. Enchanted axes, enchanted swords, floaty gross. Just weird mobs like that would kill me. So I also have to purify every area around the farm, which there's a lot. This thing is big. So I started by making 2 pathways, one above the farm and one below the farm, to block off any corruption from spreading. And then I had to go along either side and basically purify the entire farm so nothing could kill me. I'm pretty sure wraiths don't spawn underground, but if they do, that could mess me up. Or if a ghost spawns, but I don't think ghosts spawn unless it's the Halloween season or if you break a grave. So I think I'm fine. And it was time to AFK this farm and see how much money I can make. You know what? We're only grabbing every other and maybe even less. Yeah, like every other and even less. But we're going to be going back and forth. I think we'll just collect it all anyways. I think I needed to replace the water with honey. Genuinely. Like, that's not even, I'm not even like capping. I'm not even trying to just include honey for no reason. Like, honey would have been better here. That's crazy. Anyways, yeah, the mug is going on the mouse. And I will be back in the morning with daddy morning voice. So when I arose the next morning, I wasn't in the farm, I was at spawn. And there was a goblin invasion, there was a vampire, and I didn't have morning daddy voice. So clearly I died overnight. Now my theory, because I don't know, I couldn't record it, is that it was probably a jungle snatcher or a mushroom bulbasaurus. Now I could just remove the entire jungle and entire mushroom biomes around the farm, but dude, I've already been making this for 4 hours. Just placing the background walls and making it as long as it is. You don't understand how long it really is. I mean, it's long. So instead, I had a different idea. Why don't we just bring enemies down here with me and have them follow me to take up the enemy spawns so nothing else can kill me? So I made some antlion eggs, antlion larvae. All right, 1 antlion from that one. Oh, we can just hold it down. Oh, perfect. Do they run away? Oh, they run away if they don't see me though. No, that means they'll despawn. They were a little inconvenient, but if I gave them money, they could follow me a little bit, but they seemed to get like distracted, so then I tried using vicious bunnies. If I just put some bunny statues and then spawned a blood moon, every bunny that comes out of that statue will turn into a vicious bunny, which means they'll be hostile, they'll follow me, and it can take up some of the enemy spawns. And then also, other mobs will naturally spawn, and if I just give them money, basically, they'll just follow me. So I carved out like a little strip directly above the farm, and I connected it through the entire way. And now the farm was pretty much good, and it's unlikely that I'll ever die. However, there is one constraint with this farm. I only can hold 9,000 mud in my hand as I replace the chlorophyte. And once it runs out, all I can get is 9,000 chlorophyte. I can't AFK overnight and have an inventory full. Or so I thought. So that's why I bought a leaf blower to blow my mouse wheel and switch through and scroll through my mud. Okay, I didn't do that. If I fill up my inventory with chlorophyte, and then if I only leave one slot open for my mud, and then throw more mud on the ground, as I'm going through, I'll just keep picking up more mud in that one slot. So depending on how much stacks of mud I throw on the ground, is basically how many stacks of chlorophyte I'll wake up to, which is pretty insane. I mean, maybe there's a limit, you know, maybe you can't get past like 8, you know, in 8 hours or something. But I think I could genuinely wake up to like 50 platinum or more, which, you know, that's nice. That's cool. Now let's talk about the next farm I'm going to make. So the one farm I don't currently have is a farm that gives me passive income. I spend absolute hours in this world, so if I could get money in a way that didn't require me to go to a certain area and AFK or something, that would be like the most ideal thing ever. And I think crystal shards have that potential. You see, back in the day, I had the cobweb farm, and now I destroyed the cobweb farm, but the idea was for every hour I was in the world, I would have like dart traps destroy cobwebs, and eventually after hours and hours, I would just have like so many cobwebs to the point where it would be so worth it, even though they didn't sell for much. Now, that would have been true, but there's a few things that kind of went wrong in the process. The farm was terrible, I destroyed it also and never rebuilt it, because I was waiting for chest hoppers to get added, which were never added, but in another month they'll be added, you know. Anyways, the thing about crystals is they're very similar to cobwebs in the way that you can collect them passively. So let me show you how I'm going to make this farm. I'm just going to make fat rows of crystal blocks, right? Just the corrupted pearlstone blocks or whatever. And I'm just going to stack a bunch of these on top of each other. And then I'm going to hook them all up to actuators and wire, which I started using the grand design to do. I'm now a grand design lover. I have been converted. And once all these blocks are hooked up to actuators and wire, all I have to do is hook them up to a timer to flick on and off every second. And now I have a crystal farm. And it's actually done. Like, that's it. Okay, this might be the most insane farm ever. Now, to make sure I'm always using this thing, I put a timer as spawn to turn it on. The problem with the cobweb farm I had in the past is to turn it on, I'd have to go underground and flick the switch, which meant it was never turned on. But this way, the second I log into the world, I can turn it on instantly, and I'll always be generating crystals. Now, that's cool and all, but how much do they sell for? Like 1 silver, 2 silver, maybe? Well, here's what I found out when I went to the shops. Dude, 587 shards sells for a platinum and 11 gold. Brother, that's not even that many. That's not even that many at all. Really? It's not even 1,000. Wait, that's better than chlorophyte. Wait, am I dumb? Is that better than chlorophyte? Oh my gosh, no way. 1 chlorophyte sells for 17 silver. 1 crystal sells for 19 silver. Wait, crystals sell more than chlorophyte? Yeah, it turns out that the early game crystal that you get at the beginning of hard mode sells for more than the end game hard mode ore, which I can maybe see why they did this, but not entirely. But that gives me reason to suspect that the crystal farm might be goated. Alright, so now I want to see how much money the farms actually generate. I AFK'd at the mimic farm back in my corrupted footage, and after 50 minutes I had 10 platinum, which means we get about 1 platinum every 5 minutes. But the farm was clogged up, so the rate really could be higher. Now for the chlorophyte farm, I AFK'd for about 2 hours to 3 hours just while I ate dinner, went to bed, and I didn't go to bed. And I came back to almost 9,000 chlorophyte. So that's about 3,000 chlorophyte per hour. But while I was using the chlorophyte farm, of course, the crystal farm was also running. How much should I get from here? Let's see. Okay, let's just open up a slot. Whoa, I might die, bro. What? Okay, we got over 1,000. Yup, it's still going. About 2K. Alright, 2K and 30 queen slime summons, bro. Just did a couple hour AFK session. Maybe a few hours. Okay, yeah, almost 4 platinum. 15 platinum. Dude, I don't know if I've ever had this much platinum. Wait, okay, wait. Does the chlorophyte sell for more if I turn it into bars? This is like important science, bro. This is like everything. Takes so long when you have like mass quantities of items, bro. This is what happens when you're a goat. 18. Okay, so you get way more. Alright, yeah, that makes sense. Okay. So now we have 33 platinum. Alright, let's do a little recap of all the farms, dude. So starting with the mimic farm, I think this farm is going to be my best farm. It's going to be the farm I'm going to use all the time. A lot of times, like, if I just want to get a quick 10 platinum, I can just leave for an hour. You know, literally go eat, do some laundry, go outside. Nah, I'm not going outside. And I can come back to so much money so quick. Let me just see how quick I can get a mimic. Just came here. Let's start the timer. But then the chlorophyte farm, that's a good farm if I'm going to AFK for, like, overnight. Oh, there's a mimic. I just got here. Just see how much this gives me. 26. Wow. And then the most beautiful farm of all. Mirror, mirror on the wall. The best farm of all. This farm's going to be on constantly for every single hour I'm in the world. That is insane. Because I think we just hit 300 hours, by the way. But now that I'm AFKing, it kind of throws off how long I've been on the world. I'll never really know anymore if I'm AFKing overnight. But yeah, I think this is so cool, bro. Each, like, farm has its use, too. It's not like... Why am I in lava? It's not like one farm puts another one out of commission. They all have their use. There's no reason to AFK overnight at the crystal farm when I can just go to the chlorophyte farm while the crystal farm is still on. You know? So, like, it all makes sense. And I can just click the button right here. That's so good. I'll always turn it on when I log in. So now that I have money, I can start transforming my world. The first thing I've been waiting to do for a long time, but I just really haven't had the money to do, was buy a bunch of bubble blocks and paint, which this stuff costs like the most out of anything. And I wanted to extend out my cartoon area and make a giant biome. I don't know if I ever told you guys or not, but the name for this place is Honey Valley. The problem with Honey Valley is the fact that there's like this crater on the right side. And on the left side of Honey Valley, there's like a mountain. On the right side, it just looks like there should be a mountain there. So I wanted to build that up. I really want the biome to look even. And also, the other arena on the left side of the world is a bit bigger than this one. So I feel like it just makes sense to make this a little bit bigger. And I think the plan for this world is to expand out the left arena and the right arena into 2 different biomes. Originally, I just wanted them to be 2 unique arenas, but I was like, you know what? Why don't we keep the theme of like the castle-y muddy stuff and we just extend it across the world a little bit, and then we do the same with the cartoon area. Yeah, that does not blend in for a dime. Bro, it's because I switched characters when I first made this, so the map got unexplored and I had to re-explore it. But this is like fully explored, like when I make it. So once I was done with the mountain, I also put like a hole through the middle, because I did that on the left side. Add some character too. And I want to use this cartoon area to put the Queen Slime farm. By using honey and a cannon, you can kill Queen Slime in like 15 seconds or less. And from the crystal farm, I had over 150 summons for Queen Slime. And I did a little bit of calculating, right? Each Queen Slime drops about 30 gold if you sell all her items. So if you take the roughly like 220 crystals I now have and multiply it by the 30 gold per kill, I would get 66 platinum if I just killed these Queen Slimes. And it just so happens I have a method to kill her in like 10 seconds. But I think we can make this even better. The bunny cannon. The bunny cannon does 50 extra damage per shot compared to the normal cannon. So I decided to use that instead. Currently in my world, I have a bunny farm, but it is basically broken. It's a desert biome and a bunch of bug spawning crap, so like I don't think it works. So I went ahead and I built a new one underground, just off camera. I'm just taking advantage of the fact that underground gem critters spawn a lot around NPCs. And then I'm using the party center to turn all animals in the world into party hat bunnies. And from AFKing for 10 minutes, I got over 300 bunnies. And I wanted to see how quick I could kill Queen Slime with these better cannonballs, basically. And when I tried it, I died. I don't remember this fight being difficult, because before I just killed her instantly, and it was weird because I kept trying and I kept dying. And I looked it up, and it comes to turn out that explosive bunnies do not explode and cannonballs do. So what's happening is the cannonballs explode and they kill the Queen Slime's minions, but the explosive bunnies do not. So I have to deal with more minions, and I was dying because of that. Luckily, I have infinite money, so I can just reforge all my stuff to wording though and become a tank. Well, maybe I only got like half my stuff reforged. But even still, I was dying. So I switched to a normal cannon, and I was able to kill Queen Slime a couple times consistently. The method is good, but what I realized over the course of killing Queen Slime like 15 times is that her attack patterns are completely random. If she chooses to dash through the honey, she can kill me, and I'll die. But sometimes she'll choose to just hover in the honey, which makes it so I kill her every time. So it's extremely inconsistent, and I'm wasting cannonballs that cost money to kill her. I'm having to use the nurse every time I respawn, which costs money, and I'm only killing her like 1/3 of the time. So this just seemed extremely inconvenient and time consuming if I want to get a bunch of money. Yes, I can get like 100 platinum or something from killing her and selling all her drops, but you also got to sell all her drops, you know? It's like, it's kind of annoying. So at this point, I decided I'm just going to sell the summon for money instead of farming her. I know that might seem like a crazy, like, bro, you are dumb. You're wasting like 100 platinum because you're lazy. But genuinely, convenience is like a big thing, bro. It is very inconvenient to kill Queen Slime. I think once I get the Terra Blade, though, and I get like full turtle armor, then I will start killing Queen Slime normally and just farming her. But until then, until we have a really good weapon, killing her is going to take a long time, and it's just going to be better for me to sell the summon than farm her. Now, for the rest of this biome, I started just by expanding it out. I like outlined the area and started placing a bunch of balloon blocks. I had roughly the idea in mind of what I wanted to do here, but not really. So for now, I just kind of wanted to get everything laid out. I didn't think I wanted to finish it all today. I constantly fiddled with the shape for literally like 3 hours. It cost like, I mean, I don't know how much it cost, but it was about 18,000 blocks I had to place, by the way, to do this. So over a platinum, especially having to paint all of it. And once I had the rough area in place, I realized that I didn't really like it. With all the builds in my world, I like to have a reason to build something, like a use behind it. Because when you don't have a use, it's like, without a limitation, you don't really have much to go off of, and it seems kind of pointless in some ways. So I was thinking of what I could use this for, to inspire me, and it made me realize that I desperately need a hallowed biome in my world. I don't have a hallowed biome anywhere, and the best potions in the game require pixie dust. So I need an area where I can farm pixies, a flat area. And also I have a hallowed pylon right now, so I figured we need to put some NPCs in a hallowed biome and get that pylon set. So I decided to turn all the grass back to a blue color and make this whole area a hallowed biome. Luckily, the balloon block itself is like a hallowed grass color naturally, so I don't have to remove all the blocks and replace them. But I just have to mine down and like scrape off the paint off of each block. Doing stuff at such a big scale, it takes a long time, but like I said, bro, time ain't a constraint. I'm unemployed. If I can afford it, it's gonna happen. Having holes in this place made it look like the back rooms. This was looking extremely liminal. But once I had it all replaced, I started testing with some buildings I wanted to do. I want a lake in the middle, and then I want like some sort of cartoon castle here, sort of thing. But as I like built on it and tested different blocks for a couple hours, bro, I wasn't coming up with anything. It's kind of hard to do a cartoon style build with how many limited blocks and limited detail you can do with only using balloon blocks. So a lot of testing went into this. But eventually I just destroyed the two buildings and decided to start by placing a background. Terrain. This kind of reminds me of Mario, but I think we need some like background terrain here. We need some more like 3D elements, right? So I place a wall and then I place a bunch of other ones at a different color. And it kind of looks like some square hills, like some cartoony stuff. And then I went ahead and I built 2 more hills, the same exact thing on either side of the arena. Wait, this is not an arena. Never mind. Actually, it kind of is. I mean, I'm farming fairies or whatever for potions. We can call it an arena, but I don't really want to. Once those were in place, I went back and tried to make some sort of build on the top. References are key when you don't know how to build good. If you saw my how to build even though you suck video, that's the secret. Just copy a build you're looking at, and you don't need to have much skill. So that was my plan using this reference here. It kind of looks Halloween-y, but I'm hoping it kind of just looks like a cartoony, wonky house. I used living wood painted purple, and I used balloon block background walls to make a brick pattern just like I did in the other part of Honey Valley. And then I spent like, 2 hours making the rooms and crap. There's only one room actually. It just took me a long time. At first I used balloon blocks for the background, but then I remembered I had some Christmas wallpaper from like 2 years ago, and I used that. Painted it white, it looked good in the background. And for some reason, the build just looked a little too wonky. I think it was because the top was way too big. So I shrunk it down a little bit. I toned back the 3D-ness. I made the top like shorter, and that seemed to fix most of it. Now to make this biome look good and make this house blend in, I think it works kind of decent. It doesn't fit perfectly, but I think if we just place a bunch of trees will just make this whole area like pull together. But I'm not talking about the normal Terraria trees. I'm talking about ones I have to make by hand. Using a fence post painted white, and then by using leaf walls, I can make a little Lorax tree. It looks a little scuffed, but I'm going to show you how I'm going to make these look literally spectacular. Because a fence post is not a normal block, it's actually a background wall. I can build in front of it. And when I do that and then I actuate the blocks, it looks like the trees are overlapping each other. And you can make like a condensed forest. I liked how it looked. It definitely made the house look more blended in and not out of place. So I put a bunch more. And once I liked how they looked, I painted them the colors that I wanted. And yeah, dude, this place looks lit. Now in Terraria, when people build, there's usually one thing they do not do. And it is something I had the idea to do that would make my build look fabulous. Say it with me, everyone. Motion. In Minecraft, there's a huge arc and phase people are going down where they're trying to make their builds look animated. I think it mostly started with Mumbo Jumbo trying to make fans that are animated and then other people making waving flags and stuff. I think we could do some of that in Terraria. I think that would definitely be a very pushing Terraria's limits type of thing. Something that's overlooked but gives you a huge output, right? Something cool. So I had the idea, what if I made like a moving lake? Not the water moving, but using Gemspark blocks, you can toggle them on and off using wire. So I wanted to add some sort of pattern to behind the water to make it look like it's moving or there's some sort of motion or some sort of fluid motion, right? So I'm first going to make the shape I want, and then once I have the shape down, I'm going to use wire to make it flick on and off in a pattern. But I first needed to get the shape. Alright, somehow I'm making circles perfectly. Like, I'm expanding out, and I thought it would just turn into like a pyramid, but I'm like making it circular somehow. But I don't know how much longer it's going to look congruent, if you will. My strategy is I'm just going one block further down every time. And then I kind of just like follow the last shape. We'll go like 2 and then... Yeah, that works. It's just the same one as the last one. 2, 1, 1. Dude, this looks so good. Imagine this flickering on and off from the center. That's the idea. So this turns on and a wave of like brightness splashes out. That's the idea. So I was under the impression that the Gemspark background wall could be toggled on and off, but apparently only the block does that, but not the background wall. So to make this work, I have to use the blocks, but it's supposed to be behind the water. So what I'm doing is I'm actuating the blocks. And to make it so each layer activates right before the other, you might think you have to use logic sensors to do that. If you even know what that is. Dude, it's really complex. Like, I'm probably overreacting. It's a little not that much complex, but it's advanced stuff for sure. So let me teach you the stupid wild LMAO method of doing this. Basically, I'm just going to put timers one block apart on different layers. And then I'm going to place pressure plates on each layer. And what I've basically done is if I just walk straight down, it'll turn all the timers on and activate the pattern. But because when you drop down, you get stuck on a platform for like half a second, it just times out the clicks perfectly. So each timer turns on. half a second after the other, and that way you can get the timing right every single time you turn it on. Now that I had the basic system in place, all I had to do was hook up every single layer, which meant multiple strands of wire, and if there was any cross-contamination, that would mean the entire thing would not work, and it would pretty much be impossible to comprehend how to fix it if I do fail. So it was imperative that I did this perfect first try. Whoa, wait, why is one of the timers like turned on and then turned off? Like, did you see that? There's cross-contamination, I think. Why is this one turning? Look, this one's turning it on by itself. It's sentient. Yeah, I didn't do it perfect, but it was just a small little mistake I made. One cross-contamination with the yellow wire, and this is how it looks now. Step on all of it, and oh my gosh, yeah, look. Wow, that looks great. Oh, on the map, it looks sick too. Oh my gosh, on the map, it looks so much better. But that's when I noticed something. Wait, actuated blocks show in front of water? What? They're actuated though. Do I need to like paint them with like echo coating or something to not show? Dang. I could paint them with echo painting, right? Echo coating? But even if I did, the blocks would still show. The water wouldn't take up the space. Alright, well, it's filled to the brim. See how stupid it looks. Bam. Okay. Okay, imagine that. But the water was in front. Dude. Bro. It has so much potential. Alright, hold up. I'm on a different character now. I just logged in. I have cheats. I want to see, just real quick, I don't have echo coding in my world yet, so this is just an experiment. Does it fix the problem if I echo code it? It does! Oh my gosh, yo! Okay, cool. Of course, we don't have echo coding yet. We need to beat Plantera. But yeah, okay, so wait. This can all be echo coded, and it'll look great. That's actually like a W. That's like a redemption right there. So one more problem with this place is the fact that pixies can't spawn yet. It is a hallowed biome. I placed some crystals beneath the arena. However, when I fly up to this island, it's no longer a hallowed biome. So I wanted to fill the rest of the space up here with some hallowed blocks to hopefully convert the biome. At first, I made a stupid looking shape. I got rid of it, and I swapped it out for a smaller rock. And then I realized there would be no space for another house up here. Originally, the plan was to put 2 houses up here, but instead I'll just shove the second NPC in the attic. So I filled the space with more trees, and it looked great. I even actuated some of the rock to try to make it look more 3D. My strategy here is just to overlap things so much so it looks dense and layered to have depth. So I'm just putting rocks in front of like the fences and stuff, making sure the leaves are also in front of other fences of trees next to them. And I think I filled out the area pretty good. But still, pixies cannot spawn. Because they can't spawn in balloon blocks, they need to spawn on a hollowed block. So either grass, pearl stone, or sand. At first I used sand, but a lot of mummies are spawning. And I filled in below the sand with desert background walls, so I was having desert creatures spawn and crap. Dude, what the fudge? And I realized that was dumb, so I just swapped them out for the pearl stone blocks instead. And the arena was now done. Well, it's not done, but done for today. I'm thinking in this place, right? I need a couple big tree designs, and then I need to fill this place with a bunch of smaller trees. But I don't know what else to put here. Maybe something useful. Who knows? Maybe something they add in 1.4.5. I know they're adding weird stuff. And then this guy right here, if you really think long and hard about this biome, you'll know what I'm going to put here. But I'm also going to save that for a different episode. With all the pixie dust I was getting, combined with the crystal farm, I was able to make many super healing potions, or maybe they're just called normal healing potions. And you might think it's kind of like a small use for this place to have it be like a potion farm area. But dude, in this world, you go through potions like gumdrops, whatever that means. Like apple pie and Thanksgiving. Because every time you get hit like 2 or 3 times, you're guaranteed to use a potion. And then anytime I die and I respawn with low HP, so I use another potion. So something like 80 potions doesn't actually last you as long as you'd think. I run out so often, and I've never been able to use the good potions because I use them too quick, and now I have an infinite supply, basically. So that's extremely useful. I'm gonna need these all the way up through the Pumpkin Moon and Frost Moon, and Alien Invasions. So, heck yeah. And while making this whole project, the Crystal Farm generated me over 25 platinum the entire time. I spent a little bit of it, but that's just insane. That just gives you an idea of like how much money we're gonna generate now. And if I need a large sum of money overnight, I'll use the chlorophyte farm. And I also realized there was a massive problem with the mimic farm, which I fixed. First of all, mimics were timing their jumps to avoid the hoiks. The second the hoiks would like turn on, they would land on them and then jump and avoid getting sucked in. And they would run all the way to the outer wall and despawn because they were far away from me. So I added these little slopes on either side, which will push them and force them into the ground where they'll be yanked back. Also, if you remember, clouds and flying fish would clog up the farm. But now that I have crystal armor, the crystal goes through the floor and just kills all the mobs, which also makes the farm faster. So I think it's like 1 platinum every 3 minutes, which is insane. This farm is like my go-to. And also with that bunny farm I made, the crystal also sticks through the floor and it kills all the mobs for me, which is the only reason the farm's even possible. So chlorophyte armor is a W. But yeah, that's all I did today. And by today I mean multiple weeks. And that's going to be the end of this episode. I think the vision moving forward, how much building do I want to show in the videos? I don't really know, because I know like some people like it, some people don't. So I want to build with unique stuff involved, like the lake having the interesting mechanic that people don't typically do. And I also want to include it because I feel like I'm going to do it regardless. And if a bunch of time goes by and people are just like, yo, like, bro, you have a kingdom. When did that happen? You didn't even talk about that. But I want to kind of mix unique mechanics within the building stuff and have a purpose behind everything. Not just for the videos, but I think it gives me a reason and I like it more. So I think the direction moving forward is to work on the muddy castle area and use it for, I think, banners or storage. I'm gonna start collecting all the items in the game and stuff. I need somewhere to put that stuff. So that's probably what the castle area will be. But Duke Fishron. I have a really interesting thing involving Duke Fishron, which I think we'll start the next episode with. But I'll see you guys next time. I'm gonna upload some unpushing Terraria limit stuff in between.